Imagine growing up in a small Soviet-era town, so poor that lifting heavy things was your only ticket out. No connections, no money, no roadmap. Just iron, sweat, and an obsession with becoming something more. Now imagine that same kid, decades later, owning half the businesses in his country, commanding the loyalty of millions, and becoming the one man his government fears most. This is not a fictional rags to riches story. This is the real life of Gagik Tsarukyan, the man they simply call Dodo. Gagik Tsarukyan was born in 1956 in a small Armenian town called Kohei, later renamed Sagkadzor, nestled in the mountains north of Yerevan. It was a quiet, working-class place, the kind of town where ambition had nowhere obvious to go. But young Gagik found his direction early. He discovered weightlifting as a teenager, and what started as a hobby quickly became a calling. He trained with a ferocity that set him apart from everyone around him. Hour after hour, day after day, he pushed his body beyond what most people thought was possible, and it paid off. By the time he reached his competitive peak, Tsarukyan had become a world champion and European champion in weightlifting, representing the Soviet Union on the world stage. He wasn't just competing, he was dominating. In a sport that demands total physical and mental commitment, he proved he had both. But here's the thing about Gagik Tsarukyan. Weightlifting was never going to be the biggest thing he ever lifted. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Armenia, like so many former Soviet republics, was thrown into chaos. The economy disintegrated. People lost jobs overnight. Poverty surged. For most Armenians, it was a period of fear and uncertainty. For Tsarukyan, it was an opportunity. While others were trying to survive, he was trying to build. In the turbulent early years of Armenian independence, he began laying the foundations of what would eventually become multi-group concern. Today, one of the largest and most powerful business conglomerates in the entire country. Multi-Group grew to encompass an extraordinary range of industries: food production, fuel distribution, construction, real estate, retail, beverages. If you live in Armenia, it is nearly impossible to go through a single day without interacting with something connected to Tsarukyan's empire. His businesses employ tens of thousands of people across the country. In a nation of fewer than 3 million, that kind of economic footprint is not just significant, it is transformative. He didn't just become wealthy, he became woven into the fabric of Armenian daily life. And with that economic power came something else. Something arguably more valuable in the post-Soviet world: influence. In 2004, Tsarukyan made his move into formal politics, founding the prosperous Armenia Party, known in Armenian as Bhargavak Hayastan, or BHK. The party's name told you everything about its pitch to voters: prosperity, stability, and strength. And given Tsarukyan's own success story, it wasn't a hard sell. The party grew rapidly. Within a few years, it had become one of the dominant forces in Armenian politics, winning significant representation in parliament. Tsarukyan himself became a member of parliament, a position he has held across multiple terms. His political style is distinctly personal. He is known for direct engagement with ordinary Armenians, showing up at events, funding community projects, supporting local sports teams and charities. His supporters don't just vote for him. Many of them feel a genuine loyalty, even gratitude. In regions where unemployment is high and government services are thin, Tsarukyan's network has often filled the gap. Critics, of course, see something different. They describe his style as the classic playbook of an oligarch, using private wealth to build political dependency, blurring the line between business and power. It is a debate that follows him everywhere. Everything changed in 2018, when Armenia experienced its so-called Velvet Revolution. A wave of peaceful protest swept the country, driven by frustration with corruption and entrenched power. Nikol Pashinyan, a former journalist and opposition activist, rode that wave all the way to the Prime Minister's office. Pashinyan came in promising to dismantle the old system. The system of oligarchs, backroom deals, and concentrated power that had defined Armenian politics for decades. And if there was one figure who symbolized that old system more than anyone else, it was Gagik Tsarukyan. The clash was inevitable. In the years that followed, the Pashinyan government opened criminal cases against Tsarukyan, accusing him of tax evasion, vote buying, and other offenses. Tsarukyan was briefly placed under travel restrictions. The cases were widely publicized. Tsarukyan and his allies pushed back hard, calling the prosecutions politically motivated, a government using the justice system as a weapon against its most powerful opponent. His supporters rallied. His party held its ground in parliament, and far from disappearing from public life, Tsarukyan remained one of the most visible and vocal critics of the Pashinyan administration. The battle between these two men is, in many ways, a microcosm of a much larger struggle playing out across the post-Soviet world, between new democratic movements trying to break old power structures, and established figures who have the resources, networks, and popular support to resist. So how do you judge a man like Gagik Tsarukyan? Depending on who you ask in Armenia, you will get completely different answers. To some, he is a self-made titan, a kid from the mountains who lifted his way to the top and then used that position to create jobs, support communities, and give Armenia a powerful voice. To others, he is the embodiment of everything wrong with post-Soviet politics. What is undeniable is this: Gagik Tsarukyan has shaped modern Armenia in ways that few individuals ever shape a country. Whatever you think of him, when they write the history of modern Armenia, the name Gagik Tsarukyan, Dodo, will be impossible to leave out.